What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I would like to welcome you all to another edition of Wayne's Perspective, where we operate in discipline, decency, integrity, and respect. All right, I'm coming to you all with another reaction video. Now, this one is another popular topic that's going on online right now, and this is regarding Amanda Seals. But before I get to the actual reaction video itself, I just want to preface this by saying a couple of things. Now, me, I'm a brother. I'm a black man. I support my sisters, especially my sisters who are doing right by themselves in the community. They're taking care of business. They got a good head on their shoulders. And most importantly of all, they're respectful of themselves and of other people, not just black men and other black women, but everyone else as well. So, again, much power to my sisters doing the right thing in present day 2024. My hats off to you, even though I don't wear hats. But however, when it comes to the other side of that, we have to start, or should I say, we have to continue calling things out for what they are. Now, this goes to Miss Amanda Seals. Now, I have nothing against her. I don't know her. It's nothing personal, but based on some things that I've read and heard and seen within recent years, the reason why she's getting the treatment that she's getting is because of her attitude. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't think she likes black men. Now she tried to push back on that recently, but I don't think the pushback is working because it's clear to me and other brothers and even other sisters that she don't like, black men, based on her behavior, and also in any other lifetime, if you will, I would look at a sister like Amanda says and say she's fly. She's a fly sister. She's smart, she's articulate. She does her thing. And she's a good looking sister. I'll admit that. But even with all those qualities, if you have a bad attitude, that makes everything else pretty irrelevant. In a certain aspect. So I just want to preface it by saying that. And initially, I was debating as to whether I was going to talk about this or not. But after I ran across this video from this sister at the MVMO channel, and shout out to her, she does some real good videos. So much power to that sister. And again, shout out to her because I'm going to use her particular video for this reaction. And fair usage, fair usage. So I want to preface that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get my screen shared here, and we're going to take a look at this video. And again, fair usage, and shout out to this sister at the MVMO channel. If you haven't done so, go ahead and give her a follow and show her some love. So we're going to go ahead and get started here.
So I'm back with another listener request. Welcome back, My View, My Opinion, the MVMO podcast. I'm your host. Thank you for joining me for a brand new episode. One of my listeners asked if I could take a look at this recent trending interview that Amanda Seals gave to Shannon Sharp on his podcast, Club Shay Shay. And y'all know how it is. You start watching something, which was 3 hours, by the way, even though I sped it up, which I think cut it down to like 2.5 hours, it was still long, right? But that's the nature of his podcast, his conversation. And Amanda likes to talk, and Shannon does too. So it was.
And by the way, shout out to Shannon Sharp at the Club Shay Shay podcast. That brother's doing his thing. So shout out to him.
It was just par for the course. And it was just a really good interview. It was interesting. I won't say it was entertaining because I found it painful to watch at certain points, but it happens sometimes during interviews. Interviews don't always go smoothly. There are bumps in the road, but you know how it is. Like I was saying, you watch that, and then before you know it, you're watching this and that and something else. And so, in case y'all don't know it, and I'm sure you know by now, Amanda has been dragging Shannon because, well, from her viewpoint, things didn't go the way they should.
Now, let me stop right there. Now, again, I have no issues with Shannon Sharp either. He does his thing. However, the only thing that I would really question is why bring her on your platform anyway? You don't have to give the likes of Amanda Seals a platform to do an interview. You just don't have to. Now, it goes without saying that she will probably go somewhere else to, give her thoughts. But Club Shay Shay reaches a lot of people. So a lot of people is going to see that. So, he had to have known what type of woman he was dealing with. And the fact that she's dragging him after the fact, that's no surprise to me. But then again, it goes back to why have her on your platform anyway? Why even agree to the interview? Well, we know the answer to the latter question, but still, I wouldn't have brought her on to begin with, but let's continue on.
I also was watching Shannon and Ocho and Gil's nightcap episode. Now, I don't know, y'all, if they filmed that episode before she made all these, and I mean, she has made a lot of Instagram videos dragging Shannon or after. Like, I don't know. But I watched that. And so, what I want to do now before I go any further is I want to share just, for those maybe who didn't get a chance to see it, a few highlights from Amanda's conversation with Shannon. Now, unfortunately, I have to tell you, if you don't know, but the things you're going to hear, they were not acting. Amanda was not acting. And this was the tone of most of the interview. So take a listen, and then I'll be back and we'll continue talking, okay?
And she was like,
Yeah, check this out,
she
y'all.
doesn't disrupt the class. They're talking. She actually helps the other students out. He's like, oh, okay. So is it about her grades? And she's like, actually, no. One of her art pieces is featured in our exhibit at the library. He's like, so what are we here for? And she's like, well, she corrects me in front of the class. And these three black people are like, here we go with this racist bullshit, because that's really what it is. We're in Florida in the 80s and the 90s. And
But let me ask you this.
Okay.
Do you think she would have felt equally as offended if a white kid, because I'm assuming this teacher was white, right?
Mm-hmm.
If a white child would have corrected her, I think most teachers would feel some type of way if a child corrects them.
That's not for me to surmise. I'm just saying that my experience was this lady getting wrong information.
Yeah.
And I'm allowed to correct her. Now, this is the same lady who tried to accuse me of stealing. And when a white girl said, no, Amanda didn't steal it, I did. She was like, well, I think both of you need to go to the principal.
Right.
I'm in Orlando, Florida, which is a notoriously racist state, Florida, in the 90s. And I'm talking to you about a white woman who is speaking about black people, indigenous people in a country where those same indigenous people have had all of their land taken from them by former criminals that were sent there from England. And she is calling them Stone Age people.
You didn't know all of that
I,
as a
a black
child,
girl,
so you
the
were
only black girl in her class, am
reason.
correcting her.
But
You're correcting her because you were
You're right. She possibly misspoke or she didn't know.
I guess my question to you is, why do you even feel compelled at this juncture in this interview? Why would you even feel compelled to try to?
Because I don't want. Because I'm not defending. But my thing is that what I'm trying to say, most
a different
adults,
Amanda.
when kids correct them or speak, feel some type of way. This is not unique to a black, white, or white, black.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm sorry that you took it that way. But I remember when I was growing up, my grandparents and parents says, hey, kids, stay in your place. Adults are speaking. That's all. Maybe that didn't happen where you were from in Orlando, Florida. But when I grew up, kids did not correct adults.
That's right.
Now, let me stop it right there, right quick. Now, it's getting interesting. So I just wanted to say something else. Now, those of us who are 80s babies, who, grew up in the 90s and things like that, yes, as kids and even as teenagers, we knew our place, right? Now, we never corrected an adult. We didn't correct our parents. And if we did it in the other room. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And teachers, let me tell you something. I'm glad that I'm not coming up in today's generation. I'm glad that I was, a part of, like I said, the 80s babies who came up in the 90s. I'm glad I was a part of that, And when I think back to our relationship with our teachers, our relationships weren't perfect, but they were damn good compared to where the teacher-student relationship is today. Now, granted, as we were coming up, there were students who got smart with the teachers and stuff like that, but they still knew their place for the most part, and we didn't correct no teachers. And if we did correct a teacher or try to, we would get put in our place. And worst case scenario, if our parents were told about it, we'll be, told, you don't do that. You respect your teacher, you listen to your teacher. And if there's an issue with the curriculum or something like that, you talk to me about it. And then if necessary, we'll have a discussion with the teacher and we'll go from there. We never, spoke out of turn regarding our teachers. And granted, even if the teachers got on our nerves or something like that, we still had the utmost respect for our teachers because we were there for one reason and one reason only, and that was to get an education. Or if I want to throw a little ghetto in there, to get an education. But y'all know what I'm talking about. No, we never corrected our teachers. I mean, why? Why even take it there? Let's continue on, y'all. But I wanted to say that,
So I apologize if you thought it came off as combative.
No problem.
Let's get into your acting. You've been at this game for a long time. You started in 1993 as a child actor. Was that something that you always
Really fulfilling life.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm in gymnastics, I'm doing the child acting. I'm also, you know, I'm thriving in academics. You know, my mom's got me in like extracurricular programs. I get to travel with my aunt and, you know, just do other, she married a white man. So we started doing white people activities. So now I'm doing scuba diving and skiing and shit.
What's a white person activity? But okay, let's continue.
I'm in Colorado, you know, I'm just getting a whole other experience. And, you know, for all intents and purposes, and I just want to also just bring this to light for you because this is going to be a theme throughout this interview.
Okay.
I am a scholar of race.
Okay.
I'm not just someone who experiences it.
Right.
I'm a scholar, I'm an academic of race. So I see the world through a particular lens because I am skilled at doing so and because I'm an expert at doing so. Like my master's isn't just in African American studies, it's the fact that I was taught by some of the greatest thought leaders of our time.
Mm-hmm.
So when you hear me say these things, I would just like to ask that because you have someone who is an expert sitting in front of you, to just consider versus be combative, because there may be an opportunity here to see something differently because you have someone with you who is not just experiencing race, but is also examining. And there's a different intellectualism about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
different intellectualism about that. And I say that also because that's why I went and got my master's.
Okay.
I went and got my master's because I know that we will study.
Okay. I'll also ask that because if I don't see things exactly as you see them,
I don't expect you to.
don't take it as being combative. You see things one way, I might see it a different way. That doesn't mean I'm being combative.
I would say it's combative when there's a undermining of how someone sees something.
Okay, now let me stop it right there. I know the sister on the channel will come into it, but let me stop it right there. Shannon was not being combative here, you know, and it's amazing to me that women like this, when you challenge them on something or when you call them out on something or when you ask questions, that's you being combative. Because you don't just sit there and allow them to spew whatever they're spewing and just say, okay, and move on to the next thing. No, you're going to get called out and held accountable for what you're saying. That's the point of an interview, right? Or is that the point of an interview with everybody else? But when it comes to Black women, it's different. You know, he was not being combative at all. Now, Amanda Seales, I said this here. She, you know, she's easy on the eyes, but she's verbally aggressive. And she probably would take issue with a Black man calling her aggressive, but she is aggressive. She's aggressive in her tone. She's aggressive in her delivery and all of that, you know, and we can all see that, you know, and I got a bigger point at the end of this video. So let's continue, y'all. But like I said, he wasn't combative at all or aggressive.
But why are you trying to undermine how I see it?
Because it's my experience.
Exactly.
Okay, well, I'm telling you,
I don't know my experience.
But I'm saying, see, you take it as if I don't agree with you, I'm being combative.
No, I don't. I take it as if I have an experience and you're telling me that my experience isn't what it is.
No,
You're telling me that my thinking somebody is racist who I was in a classroom with for a year that you have never met. You are emitting doubt upon that because of your own experiences.
No, I said I was talking about the teacher and you.
Right.
And I said
in your
I believe based on my experience, and a lot of people is that kids correct an adult, no matter what society it is frowned upon. That's what I was saying. Okay. You took it that I'm trying to minimize your experience and say, well, I'm defending her when I wasn't.
Okay. I think there's something worth saying that could come off that way, and it should be something to consider.
And you see that? Okay, like, girl, can you be any more condescending? I mean, really?
Well, see, again, you're going to consider it your way because you see things, like you said, you see things through your prism. Okay.
I think it's fascinating to watch you accuse me of doing the thing that you're doing.
No,
fascinating.
I think it's
fascinating.
This is your interview, so I won't interject what I think. But anyway, your mom.
Yeah. So I wanted to correct something there for those of you who've not been following the full story, because there's a whole lot of pieces to this because Amanda keeps coming on Instagram. The way Amanda presented this autism spectrum diagnosis, if you listen to it there and if you watch the full interview, she made it seem as if her mother and her knew this when she was a child and that she was actually diagnosed by a professional. However, during one of her Instagram lives, when she was dragging Shannon, someone asked her, and actually she got angry about it, did you get this diagnosis
Of
from an
course.
actual doctor? And she said no. And not only did she not ever go to a doctor because she said it cost $10,000 and she was not going to do that, this is something that she came up with on her own just a few weeks ago. So I don't know where all this other stuff she was talking about, but Baller Alert actually wrote an article about this. Amanda made a video. She got angry. She said, my
You notice what the person is saying, getting angry. You notice this? I mean, there ain't no slip of the lip here. Why you getting angry at stuff like this, especially with people asking, simple questions. Like, come on now.
autism diagnosis is nobody's business. But again, it goes back to what we were discussing before. Remember the caterpillar illustration I gave?
And if it's nobody's business, why are you putting it on the internet? Why are you putting it on social media?
The principle in nature that all of us should live by. What we don't want people to know, we don't tell them. What we don't want people running their mouth about, we don't say, because
Exactly.
people can only talk about things that we share. And of course, we know
Exactly.
people can make up lies, but you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
She's now getting angry that people are saying, girl, you can't go around saying that you're on the autism spectrum when you've never, ever been diagnosed. I mean, that's not right. You're not a mental health professional.
Nope.
And, this whole going on Google and putting in your symptoms and coming up with this stuff, it's gone too far. And so she got angry and she said, stay out of my business. It's none of, and I'm like, but Amanda, if you had have never told, even if you think you are autistic, if you would have never brought that up, they couldn't have written an article about it.
Exactly.
Amanda doesn't seem to understand. You can't throw a rock and hide your hand and then cry when people start looking at the rock you threw.
And then turn around and make judgments about other people and how they live their lives. You see it, it's almost like a double standard here. You can't say nothing about her, but she can say something about you all day.
When they start talking about it, it's kind of like when she got angry with Black media spaces. But she first went on her Instagram and criticized Black media spaces. They're not this
Yep.
and they ain't shit and such and such and such and such. So then when contributing writers wrote opinion pieces in Black media spaces, she got angry and she said, you're hating on me. You're trying to destroy me. No, Amanda, they're responding to what you said.
Exactly.
So that's the first thing. By the way, Amanda's now trying to parlay all of her burning of bridges into a tour called the Unlikable Tour. There have been some comedians who could successfully parlay their interactions into a tour, but I don't think this is going to be one of them. I don't think this is going to be successful. I hope it is for her sake financially, but I don't think it is because Amanda actually is unlikable. So it's.
And pardon me for stopping it right there. Now, if this flops, who do you think she's going to blame? Black men. Mark my words.
It's not like people are misreading this. The fact that, here's the bottom line. I'm much older than Amanda. So I can look at this like so many of you two who are much older than her. I can look at this and kind of see where it's going to go. And just to be very, very frank with y'all, when I was watching her interaction with Shannon, I felt sorry for Amanda because I realized by the time Amanda Seales realizes that she is her own problem, it's going to be too late. Meaning,
right,
she won't still have a man. She won't have any kids. She will have a career that's on the Hollywood, dump, heap trash dump. By the time she realizes that it was her and not everybody else, it's going to be too late.
Exactly.
One of the things I was thinking about when I was watching them is Amanda's so smart, but she's not likable. Shannon, maybe by some people's estimation, isn't so book smart, but he's very likable. He knows how to get along with people. You know, the most important life skill that any of us can learn is how to get along with people.
Exactly.
And when every place you go, you wind up having a problem, it's not everybody else. Again, by the
Yep.
time Amanda realizes this, it'll be too late. It'll be too late. I recognize she's had a miscarriage and she's now saying she doesn't want any children, and, she kicked out her boyfriend because he was mooching off of her. Well, yeah, when you're a sister soldier type personality, the only men that are going to really deal with you are men who are going to want to use you in some way. Because a man who is in his manness, he doesn't really care about all the degrees and he doesn't really care about all of the education and all of that. What he cares about is that you can get along, that he can get along with you,
Right.
that he can talk with you, that you can talk with him,
Right.
and that you are a woman in your femininity. And that doesn't mean all of us as women have to be the same. We're women, as women, we're not a monolith.
And at the end of the day, no self-respecting man, especially a self-respecting black man, is going to put up with the likes of Amanda Seals. That's just calling it like it is.
But if you saw that conversation that Chad and Gil and Shannon had on Nightcap, I totally understood where they were coming from. These types of women are always single, just like
Exactly.
Ebony K. Williams.
Oh yeah, Ebony K. Williams. Y'all remember that from last year? She wouldn't date a bus driver, but she'll date someone who owns the bus. Y'all remember that? And those comments are not going to age well. Let me tell you
Right.
that.
And the only men they're going to be able to get are going to be men who they're going to put up with all of that because they want something from you, like her boyfriend Vaughn did. He just needed a place to stay. Right. And if you didn't hear about that, that was an interview Amanda gave when she was in Washington, D.C. I forgot the couple's name, but they have a YouTube channel. And she ran him down too. And you know what she said? Basically, she was just too smart for him. And I thought, bless her heart. So that's really how I feel. I don't have a lot of criticisms for Amanda. I don't have a lot of praise for Amanda. I think Amanda's in a sad situation because anytime you have reached the age of 42, 43, and you've been having all these problems since childhood and you still haven't worked them out, you're not even close to working them out. You can't even say you were wrong. You can't acknowledge anything in any interaction. Every single interaction, it was always the other person. Chances are, and I'm not trying to be negative, I'm just telling you guys with years more of experience than Amanda, by the time she realizes the truth, it will be too late. She'll have nobody. She already said she don't have no friends. She has no friends. She has no one she can go to. It's kind of like Wendy Williams. It's a sad, Monique, Pete, sometimes guys, we're our own problem. It has nothing to do with being
Right.
strong, smart, and black. One of the things I loved in that interview was at first, Shannon was trying to, he was coming at it from a big brother perspective. But when he saw, he just kind of, like he said, it's your interview and I'm just not going to even, because you can't disagree with people like Amanda. So those are my thoughts. I don't have a lot to say. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye, guys.
All right. All right. So again, shout out to that sister at the MVMO channel. She did a good job with this video. Um, the only things I want to add at the end, is just, try suggesting to a woman like Amanda says that she needs therapy, or something close to it. You'll get all kinds of pushback. How dare you suggest that I need therapy? How dare you say this? How dare you say that? You the one that need therapy. Why you coming to me like that? Blah, 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 blah. But you can't tell them nothing. You really can't, and it's that whole thing of you're not gonna tell me, I'm gonna tell you. And shout out to Messing with Sean for that one, because it's true regarding the likes of Amanda Seals, you know. So I just wanted to say that. And then the one thing that I end this video on before I close is that my mom told me this a while ago, and it stuck with me, and it's gonna always stick with me. She said, "Son, you can't treat people anyway and expect good things to happen to you." Let me repeat that. You can't treat people any kind of way and expect good things to happen to you. Y'all remember that. That's words of wisdom coming from my mom to you all. So, with all that being said, if you like what you heard and you're ready to become part of Team Discipline, go ahead and hit that like button and drop some comments if you're feeling the content. And last but not least, hit that subscribe button along with the bell so you're notified when I drop new videos. And until next time, my people, take care of yourselves. And remember, the power of the mind is valuable. And yes, you cannot treat people any kind of way and expect good things to happen to you. Until next time, y'all,